You guys, this is a momentous occasion. Check this out, right? I just switched over today to using an ESP32 dev board instead of using the Raspberry Pi for the GPIO headers and stuff, and it's working way better. Check this out. I pulled the motor off of the stand and I disassembled my apparatus a bit, but when I flip the switch, ready for this? Boom. This is the smoothest action that I've had so far by a long shot. And yeah, this is awesome because it's just going to keep going. And I can flip off the motor power. Everything is safe. It's all good. So take a look here, what we've got. Here's the ESP32, and I flashed it using some VS Code in C++ that I wrote up. I was using Python before, and then just directly executing a Python script to a Raspberry Pi over Ethernet, which was hella inconvenient. But now I get to get rid of my network router as an Ethernet switch, get rid of the Raspberry Pi, and it's just this nice ESP32 connected by USB to my laptop. And these dev boards, I got 3 of them for like $17. So super cheap, and all I have to do to turn on the motor is flip the switch on the power here. And then as you can see, I went back to the Big Tree Tech TMC 2209 stepper motor driver. So I'm not using the Adafruit driver, and I got some capacitors to stabilize the power to the board and the power to the motor. So the capacitors probably helped. And then this ESP32 is like the hero of the day. And, if I set up my motor here, all I have to do is just, here I'll even kind of have it all in one shot here. Flip the switch, and it's going. And it also reverses direction pretty smoothly and consistently, so it's almost like I don't even need the Scotch yoke, but I made it anyways. What I'm thinking now is that I saw a video online where I can add a potentiometer to this setup, and then I can crank that to vary the speed that the stepper motor is going. And also, if I do say so myself, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to also use an ADC. Previously, I was going to have this with a Raspberry Pi because the Raspberry Pi doesn't have an ADC built in. But as it turns out, there is, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Right here on this side, there are these ADC pins going to the GPIO on the ESP32. So it's like, maybe I don't even need this ADC as a dedicated separate chip. And obviously, it's easier to see when I'm looking at the pinout diagram here because it's bigger, but there are a ton of pins available on the ESP32. So it'll be way easier to set up the Hall sensor. And, looking at my enclosure box, there are these extra holes here. This is, unnecessarily large. But I could slap the lid on this and it's easy. There's probably plenty of room to put the magnetic angle encoder as well. So, I am going to put back together the entire apparatus. And today I might see the magnet swinging through the coil. So I just wanted to document the fact that I got the motor to work at all. And it's working really smoothly. This is in standalone mode, by the way. It's not in UART mode. So if there isn't enough torque to swing the magnet through the coil, I have the VREF potentiometer on the driver all the way set to 0. So it's at the lowest VREF right now. So I suppose, being that it's in standalone mode, I could increase the VREF and get more torque out of it if I need to. So this is more huge progress, and it makes all the money that I've spent on all this stuff worth it, and all the time that I've spent, figuring out how to get the code to flash onto the ESP32. I spent like a few hours today doing that. It's like, obviously I've done C++ before. I'm no stranger to VS Code, but it was, a little bit of learning involved, getting it set up, and it's fun. It's been a fun challenge, and I'm going to keep going. So I've got it all put together. The crank, magnet, coil. Got my electronics enclosure here. Everything's plugged in. Let's see what happens. It's probably going to grind. Yeah, it's a bit of a grind. Not exactly the most smooth oscillation. And my crank is coming undone. But that's okay. Obviously, it's going to go in just one direction, but this is huge. This is huge. See how it kind of like jerks when it changes directions? So that's part of the idea behind the crank in the first place, is that it's just going to swing in one direction. But this is epic, you guys. I'm going to power it off.